YouTube and auto captions. Is the glass half full or half empty? That's the topic of today's video. Coming up. Recently, the New York Times published an article about the effort by Google to do a substantial makeover of Google Translate by using artificial intelligence. The link is below. It's a rather fascinating article. Grab a cup of coffee and read it. The article notes that as a result of this makeover, Google Translate has gone through a substantial improvement. At the heart of this improvement is machine learning with a neural network. It's a little complicated and it's beyond the scope of this article, but it's quite fascinating. After reading this article, I tried out the new version of Google Translate with my mother-in-law and my wife, both of whom are fluent in Dutch. Well, actually, my wife can understand Dutch rather than speak it. So what I did was I typed out a sentence in English in the Google Translate app on my iPhone, which translated into its Dutch version. And it would play an audio version of it. And both my mother-in-law and my wife were quite impressed. Except, well, a couple of them were too literal, but most of them were colloquial, and they were quite impressed with the translation. The article goes on to explain that there is a massive arms race in terms of recruiting talent for artificial intelligence among Google, Facebook, Microsoft, Apple, Amazon, and a Chinese firm called Baidu. I hope I pronounced that correctly. One can surmise that as a result of the competition among these technology giants, we will see considerable advancements in artificial intelligence / machine learning. So that brings us to the issue of auto captions on YouTube. Before I discuss the issue of auto captions, I'm going to give a shout out to those YouTubers who care enough to manually caption their videos. An example would be TED Talks. Almost all of them are captioned. I captioned all of my martial arts videos on my martial arts YouTube channel. There are a few deaf vloggers who caption their videos and are very passionate about the captioning issues. And there are a number of other YouTube channels that caption their videos. That said, the vast majority of YouTube videos are not properly captioned and default to auto captions. Auto-generated captions on YouTube have been a huge source of frustration for members of the deaf community, and quite understandably so. 5 years ago, auto captions were horrible. I could make heads or tails of what was being captioned and what was being said. And it was so bad that I would just often turn off the auto caption because it ruined the viewing experience. However, recently I've noticed something different. As I stated earlier, I create martial art videos for my martial arts YouTube channel, and because of that I subscribe to a fair number of martial arts YouTube channels, and so I watch martial art videos on a regular basis, not just to pick up techniques but just to pick up other trends in the martial arts industry. And I have noticed that a couple of them, the auto captions were of surprisingly good quality. It was about 80–85% accurate. The captions match what was being spoken in the video, and I was quite impressed. I was very surprised, especially when you consider the state of auto captions 5 years ago, which was horrible. Is it perfect? No, it's not. There are other martial art videos where the auto captions are still terrible, horrible, awful. That said, I am encouraged by the recent improvements in the YouTube auto captions. I am hopeful. Now, going back to the article that I mentioned at the beginning of the video, I hope that Google will take the lessons that they learned from the Google Translate project and apply it to auto captions on YouTube. More specifically, machine learning with neural networks to YouTube auto captions. I have no doubt that this would be an enormously complex undertaking, because for one thing, it's not just translating written word from one language to another, like Google Translate does. You also have on top of it voice recognition software, and that's going to be very complex because voice recognition software has to take into account different accents, different dialects. Think, for example, the difference between a Boston accent versus those speaking in Alabama, Southern accent, or an maritime accent here in Canada, or when you think about the different groups here in Toronto, Filipino accents, Chinese accents, Indian accents, and how is voice recognition going to make sense of all that? And I think that's where machine learning is going to come into play and be able to accurately caption them into perfect English on YouTube. As a deaf person, I'm excited about the possibility of, strong possibility of considerable improvements in YouTube AutoCaptions in the future. This would make my YouTube experience much more enjoyable, especially when I watch martial art videos or public discussion type videos. But I'm also will be speaking from the perspective of a content creator. Why? Well, let's think about this. If machine learning improves AutoCaptions, this makes my work less exhausting. As it stands now, to manually caption YouTube videos while at once is easy and at the same time labor intensive. So with AutoCaptions improving, my hope is that all I have to do is get into the caption settings and just manually edit the captions and do some minor formatting to make it clear. So I think that there is no excuse for content creators in the foreseeable future not to go into their caption settings and edit the captions. Why is this important? If you want greater reach with your YouTube videos, caption them. A recent study showed that 80% of folks who use captions are not deaf or hard of hearing. Think about that. Only 20% using captions are deaf or hard of hearing. That means you can vastly extend the reach of your YouTube videos. So I think it would be wise for you to caption your videos. And with the hopeful improvement in machine learning and with the improvement in AutoCaptions, there's no reason for you not to go into the captions settings and do some minor editing to make your videos accessible to a lot of people. There are folks who want to watch captions with the sound muted because they're working in an office and they need to access the captions, or they're in a noisy environment and captions would be a good way for them to understand what's going on in a video. Think about that. Again, there's no excuse not to go into the caption settings and edit them to make them accessible for your audience. To summarize, I am hopeful about the future of AutoCaptions in light of recent advancements by Google in the area of machine learning / artificial intelligence. Yes, AutoCaptions were horrible 5 years ago, and in some cases, they're still not that great. But I am quite encouraged by what I have seen recently in some of the martial art videos that I watch. And lastly, there's no excuse for content creators to go in and edit their AutoCaptions. It's really not going to be that labor intensive for you in the future. No excuse for it. So, I hope you enjoyed this video. Feel free to subscribe to this YouTube channel for future videos, and have a great day.